In 1981, I was born in prison to a mother who was addicted to heroin. At 2 days old, I was placed in foster care and raised by a family who immigrated to this country from Mexico. And so my first language is Spanish.
Well, my name is Sylvia, and I know Lamar because he's my brother.
My name is Patricia Luna, and I'm Lamar's sister.
I am Guillermo Hernandez. This is my son, Lamar Thorpe.
And how I grew up certainly shaped who I am today. I think it shaped my ability to fight. I grew up in a neighborhood where the state wanted to build a freeway and demolish all of the homes of the poor Latinos in East LA. And when you got to South Pasadena and Pasadena, the state was going to conveniently go underground to protect everybody's house. And so that type of injustice, that type of blatant disregard for people of color, for working poor people, of course, absolutely has shaped how I view the world and how I conduct myself in politics.
He was my neighbor since he was 2 days old.
My mom and my dad, they wanted to have a large family, but my mom had some issues having babies, and so she resorted to the next best thing, and that's becoming a foster mom. And actually, Lamar was one of the first kids that we got in our house.
We were born 4 months apart. My brother Lamar was already here when I was born.
He was the first foster kid we got. When he get home, we were happy to have it because we need a boy at home. So Lamar came when he was 4 days old. They come from the hospital to our house.
I know Lamar's mom since I moved down here in 1972.
Back in the days is when it was okay to go outside and play. And so people were always outside playing, riding bikes or just, the kids running around on the grass. And then there was always this house that had a bunch of kids all the time, and that was Lamar's house.
I know Martin because my aunt, he living with my aunt.
I mean, that was the talk pretty much, es un negrito, and then they had to tell the story of how Lamar ended up in a Mexican home. But at first glance, that's pretty much what everybody did. But then we're, oh yes, it's Lamar. I go, pero mira, habla español, and he would speak Spanish, and so he grew up with all of us. So, for us, it was just Lamar.
And the first time when I came, I saw him, and he's so cute.
Then when we saw this little boy who was so cute, 2 houses down, and we're like, oh, how did he come to this house? And then that's when you found out that Lamar's mom was, a foster mother, and that whole thing happened. And it was like, so we started getting to know other little kids, but Lamar was the only kid who was black, of course. But to us, he was Lamar, and so he grew up as, just like one of us.
Growing up, we didn't call Lamar, we called him Martin, because my mom, she named him after the saint, and so we always knew him as Martin.
Growing up, I was not Lamar, I was Martin Hernandez. I was baptized as Martin Hernandez. I did my first communion as Martin Hernandez. The only time I was called Lamar was in public school, but even then, like the kids who were my friends, they knew me as Martin, they didn't know me as Lamar.
We hospitals keep it for 3-4 months, and his mother, you're going to take him, or, you go some other house. Time passed, and we still get in love with him, and we don't let him go. We stay with him. We keep him.
We didn't have lots of money. She fought for us to make sure with all the kids that we had, they still managed to at least make us feel like we had what we needed. I didn't grow up feeling like I was poor. I grew up feeling like I had enough. I had things that everybody else had. But in addition to that, so did my 6 or 7 other brothers and sisters, and so that's a lot of work.
He would come up with these crazy ideas, and he always kept me on my toes. We had so much fun together.
I remember when he started walking, came down to my house, and every time I used to come home from work, I used to see these little 2 kids, one blonde, the same age, one blonde and one dark, and playing together, so beautiful. I wish I could have had a cell in those days, because there was a beautiful picture sitting on the ground,